it's Carrie here from the Female Entrepreneur Association, and welcome to the 10-minute masterclass. In this session, we are joined by the lovely Meg Worden, and she is going to be sharing 3 tips for you to try to help you to build a more successful business by focusing your energy and attention on your health and vitality. So Meg, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Carrie. Thanks for having me. This is really my favorite topic.
It's fast becoming one of my favorite topics too, because I have recently become one of those people that actually does what they say when it comes to health. Because before, I used to be one of those people that wanted to prioritize my health and fitness more, but just never seemed to get around to doing it because of work. So I'm excited to talk about this and talk about the impact that health and vitality actually has on business. So let's just jump straight into it. What are the things that people can do to help them to increase their business success by focusing on their health and vitality?
So I really love that this is such great timing for you as well, because that's such an important it's such an important thing for business people and entrepreneurs. And I like to tell people to actually make your health the number one thing on your business plan. It really is the number one piece that can change everything about your entrepreneurial experience. So the first thing is very much mindful of your story. So my big tagline and my whole shtick is to redefine your health. And I love to take the fundamentals, the profound basics, the very, very seeds that start any new habit or any new structure for your life and work from there. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to create your own structure in life. So it's not like you get a specified break time or that you get a specified vacation time. There's a lot of things as an entrepreneur that we have to create for ourselves. And some of the things we do end up creating a story, and especially I find about health. So there's a lot of people that they become an entrepreneur, they get really busy. Perhaps they used to do yoga 5 days a week, and somehow doing yoga 5 days a week for an hour and a half a day became their definition of exercise or self-care or health. And when they got really busy or something in their life changed and they weren't able to do it in that way anymore, they don't do it at all because they keep thinking, well, I'll do that again when it can look exactly like that. And it's so important that we're able, as entrepreneurs in general, to maintain a real comfort in uncertainty and an ability to constantly reinvent and redefine. And this really goes for health as well. So you can see how psychologically this practice and exercise can play over into your business practice, but then also it can really get you going as well. So being mindful of your story. So is your definition of working, does that mean you have to work from this hour to this hour? Or does that mean you have to do all of your work before you do anything for yourself? Or are you one of those entrepreneurs that's so, you have a great work ethic, but sometimes the entrepreneur work can be so challenging that you find yourself doing hours of day of never enough. There's always something more you could be doing. You don't really know what that is. And honestly, perhaps you'd be better served by getting out of the house and taking a walk in the fresh air, or taking a run in the fresh air, or taking a class and face-to-facing some people in the real world. So, it's important to check out the what, why, the how, the where of what you're doing with your self-care. So maybe the what needs to change. Maybe you don't need to be doing training for a marathon right now. Maybe your exercise just looks like doing 5 minutes. I'm not even kidding. Walking around the block, walking up your stairs and back, going to a standing desk, lying down on the floor in Shavasana. Just literally one thing that can start to create a need for itself. Making that shift in your perception and your story to just commit to a tiny thing and watch that grow. Also, that helps to what you were talking about, becoming someone that actually does what you say. When you challenge yourself to do a tiny little thing every day instead of this big thing that might take many more steps in between, you actually create new neural pathways of self-trust. So then when it comes to making that a larger commitment, you're more actually willing to do you're more capable of doing what you say you're going to do. So there's that piece. I like to tell people too, when it comes to, and I can get to this, actually, let me get to this in the next tip, no spoilers. But changing, so what you do for your self-care, that could be any number of things. How you do that, as in like what time of day it happens, where it happens. Do you think that that only happens at the gym? Do you think that that only means a pedicure? It can be so many things, and we don't have time quite in this class to list the myriad of things, but there's so many ways to take care of yourself. And it really does start with mindfully prioritizing that at the beginning of your business plan. So you can be radiant, so you can be structurally sound, so you can be flexible, so you can have lots of circulation and fresh air to really show up for yourself and for your clients, and probably for most of us, for our families, our communities, and our friends. So number one tip is mind your story. My second tip is to stay hydrated. I can't tell you how important that is. It cannot be overstated to drink plenty of water. We entrepreneurs like to live on coffee, on tea. We love to keep the caffeine buzz going. It tends to become more habitual also. It's very comforting. Drink the water. I like to tell people drink a glass of water first thing in the morning. Lemon water is fantastic. I add chlorophyll to mine. Super simple. That shot of greens. Also, drinking a glass of water before every cup of coffee is a great plan. But even if you just keep in a water bottle or an herbal tea bottle,
mine is.
Awesome. Mine is coffee. It's first thing in the morning here. But after my coffee, I will have a large tea, herbal tea, and then be sipping on water for the rest of the day. I can't tell, the importance of that. We are made completely of water. And when it comes to keeping your mind clear, keeping your skin fresh, keeping your body pain-free and feeling motivated to self-care, there's nothing better than water. It helps you sleep. It also, you will start to feel hunger cravings. I'm not going to get too much into eating in this class, but we entrepreneurs tend to be close to our kitchens. And when we get stressed out, it's easy to sit and snack. Nobody's around to sort of keep us in check. We can do a lot of secret grazing when our minds get tired and when we get stressed out and we're not getting enough actual exercise and fresh air. That can feel like hunger. Thirst can feel like hunger. So a real preventative and super effective thing to do. It sounds so simple. Health is so simple, you guys. I mean, seriously, we often sit around assuming that it must be so complicated. There must be some other way, that we ignore the very, very simple things to do that make all the difference in the world. So staying hydrated is, I know everyone has heard it a million times, and I'm just hopefully telling you in a new way so that it'll actually happen. There's a big difference in knowing it's something you should be doing and actually doing it. And that's back to the first tip. Isn't that the key? Like, do we really want to be fit and healthy and have successful businesses, or do we want to sit around being stressed out, being overworked, being overwhelmed, and always telling people how busy and tired and miserable and how much weight we've gained and all of the things? And that's not why we became entrepreneurs at all. Doing the things is actually probably a tip I should have included. The last tip, before anything food related or anything else, is exercise. Even just the tiniest bit. That's a tough one for people, especially all of these brilliant creative minds that end up getting into business for themselves. It's so comfortable to live in our heads. It's so comfortable to get up in the morning and start that routine, do that writing practice, or start checking the emails and really start getting into the flow when you do have your morning caffeine, and then sort of going all day and, prioritizing really just walking away and getting some exercise. If it means doing that hour workout or however long, or really if it just means getting away from your computer. And like I said before, lying on the floor in Shavasana. And honestly, I find one of the most helpful ways to make exercise a priority in your life is to put on what I call the clothing of optimism first thing in the morning. Get up and put on your leggings. Get up, put on your sneakers. Get up and put on the clothing that you're going to exercise in. And so when you think about it, it's literally just getting out of your chair and getting on your yoga mat, getting out of your chair and walking out the door. Whatever it is that you're going to do for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, wherever you need to structure that plan to actually be 100% doable and 100% not intimidating, and then commit to that on a really, really regular basis. And it changes everything. I can't overstate how much a strong, flexible, circulating body, that structural integrity of where we have to live ultimately in these vehicles that do the work, right? That connect to the people in our world, how much that structural integrity translates to the structural integrity of your business and your life. It's like, I can do this one thing that doesn't seem related, but when I prioritize it, number one thing on my business plan, magically my business starts to flow and get better. So, that is, it's so worth it to make that a priority. So I could go on and on. There's tips for days, but I think minding your story, really getting a little movement in and staying hydrated, if that's all that we start with, that's going to change everything.
Yeah, I love those tips so much, and it's funny. I was agree with so many of them as you were going through that. Like even putting on my leggings this morning myself, because I was like, if I put my leggings on, I was more likely to go to the gym, and then I did, because I was like, well, I've got my leggings on now, I might as well go to the gym. But it's funny, and I think that self-talk and those excuses that we come up with, and we really want to do it and we want to be healthier because we know it's going to help us, but then it's trying to get over those mental blocks and those excuses. I mean, for me, it was definitely the excuse of having too much to do as an entrepreneur and feeling guilty about taking time out for myself and making it work. And then I just thought to myself one day, I was like, Harry, are you going to do this or not? Like, how long are you going to take? Even the water thing, I got this for Christmas because I was so fed up of not drinking any water throughout the day, because I would be chained to it sounds terrible, but I'll be sat at my desk on my computer all day long. I wouldn't move to get a drink, and I just thought, this is so unhealthy. Like, what am I doing? So at least my little water bottle now, it tells me it's like a litre. So at least drinking this, I know it's a litre. And when I fill it up like 2 or 3 times a day, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing so well. But making things easy like that, and, getting over my mindset on being able to take that time out during the day to go and work out. And I remember thinking to myself at the beginning, it was like, Carrie, do you think you could do this for just 1 week and just test it out? And I thought, yeah, you know what, I can. So I did it. And the thing I found about taking control of my health was that it helped me take control of my business too, because I felt like I was waking up and prioritizing me. And then it wasn't me waking up and my business prioritizing me. It was, so often I think our businesses run us. And I felt like putting myself first and putting my fitness first was a step saying, no, I'm taking control. This is my life, and I can choose to put my focus and priority into my health and fitness first. And I completely agree with you on how much of an impact that has on everything else in your life when you step up. You said a really great word earlier on when you were talking about the mindset piece, and I can't remember what it was now, but you said something about it was something about the self, and when you allow yourself to prioritize what is really important and put yourself first, it makes such a difference.
I would even argue, yes, it does. And I would even, for the self-resistant, even put forth the argument that you are we entrepreneurs are never working. We're never not working. We're never actually not having ideas. There's never a time when we don't have to actually utilize our brain creatively. And even the thought that when we take the time off to go to the gym and we do that brain care, we can think of it as the caring for the creative centers of our brain. So it is almost even work. It is taking time out for ourselves, but it's so connected to work. It's also taking the time out to refresh our brain so we can have bigger and better and more clear ideas that we actually have the energy to execute on. So for the self-resistant, I would even pose that taking that time out is work.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For those of us, and I love the idea that work is not a bad word, that I love doing what I do, but doing what I do needs to include the opportunity to refresh my circulation of blood and oxygen in my brain, because my brain is a really, really valuable part of my business because I have to run the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Definitely. Thank you so much for coming along and sharing those tips. I think, this kind of reminder is always so good because we always need reinforcement with this kind of stuff so we can stay on track with it and so we can remember to prioritize ourselves. Because I think sometimes, I don't know whether it's as being entrepreneurs or being women, but I feel so often we forget to prioritize ourselves. And when we do it, it just makes the world a difference. So thank you so much for coming and giving us that reminder and sharing your amazing tips with us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You should definitely go and find out more about what Meg has for you over on her website. She has is it a free series you've got where you give some free?
I've got a free series. Yeah, my opt-in series is a great little mini course that kind of expounds on the tips I just gave you and has some more resources. It's really fun. I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah, so definitely go over and check that out. I will leave that the link on the blog post below. And also, we're going to challenge you to put these tips and these action in. No, hang on. We're going to challenge you to put these tips into action. So, prioritize your health. Pay attention to what issues are coming up for you from a mindset perspective, like what is holding you back, what's stopping you from prioritizing your health and your fitness. Think about that stuff. Think about what you can do to overcome it. Drink a glass of water a day or start drinking more water a day and get out and do some exercise, even if it is just 5 minutes a day, and try that for the next 7 days and let us know how you get on and whether it does have an impact on your business, and make sure you come back and leave a comment below. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, then make sure you subscribe and like the video and share it with anyone else that you think this might benefit. And I will see you next week for another 10-minute masterclass.